Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Brunner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Happy National Coffee Day, if you're one of those people who celebrate. If you are a caffeine addict like myself, definitely go get yourself some free coffee. But I gotta tell you, today stinks. Waking up as a Packer fan after last night, a tie is one of the worst things in existence, not just sports. Like it's disgusting. It's terrible. On the longest NFL, day of all time. We started internationally, and then we end going the full duration of overtime. And then after all of that football goodness, to end it in a tie. It's the most European football thing of all time. We're over in Europe. We end the day with a tie. I can't take it. Not good. Not good. And then what did I do today? You may notice, Zach, stream's a little late. What have you been up to? Well, let me tell you the fun morning I had as people start coming in here and ask any fantasy questions you have, by the way. And also, if there's any people who are letting down your fantasy team, whether you're watching this after the fact or live, hopefully live, let me know and we can rate them on our panic meter. I might do a full video just like that, do like a tier list of what players we are panicking most about. Obviously, Lad McConkey's on the list, people like that. But this morning, for those who listen to the Flurry Sports podcast might know, I do like to go to these like auction websites. Then I go, they're like estate auction websites, stuff like that. I get stuff, then I usually flip it, resell it. People know the story about me buying 8 cowboy hats, which was wild. Certainly set the tone with me and the guy I went to go get them from. That's a weird thing to go buy. However, sold them all for like $100 a piece. So made quite a bit of money doing that. It was nice. Today, went and got a snowblower because mine isn't really working. Winter is coming. 85 degrees in Wisconsin today, but can only assume next week it's going to be frosty, right? So went and got a snowblower. Thought it would fit in the back of my Jeep. Did not do that. So I'm driving with the lift gate open, holding on to the snowblower for about a full hour the entire way home, making sure it doesn't fly out the back of my fucking vehicle, holding it with a shoulder that's already blown out, so I can't really move my arm, but I do have a snowblower. Thought I smashed it through the entire face of the planet trying to get it out of the Jeep by myself afterwards, but you know what? We're good to go. We're here. We're ready to talk fantasy football. So we may as well do that. If you are a member, and I suggest you become a member, by the way, I'll put the QR code on the screen right now. Or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Zach Brunner. If you are on YouTube, there should be a link in the description as well. Or just scan the QR code. Scan it. You'll go straight there. You can become a member for 1 coffee per month, or better deals to get the full yearly membership. Much better deal, to be completely honest, because it's a full calendar year. That means you get a membership until September 29th, 2026. That means you get next year's draft kit for free. That means you get access to a group chat with myself and other members to get fantasy advice 24/7. You get access to the opportunity index, which is a great tool for you to buy low, sell high on players, stuff like that. A lot of really, really good data. My trade value chart comes out, I think, this week. Rest of season rankings, all kinds of good stuff. Boom, bust, and consistency rankings. There's all kinds of data and tools and analysis and things to help you win your fantasy league. So if you want to win your fantasy league for one coffee per month, I would love to have you. I want this to become one of the biggest and best fantasy tools and communities to help you win a fantasy league. So definitely join the membership. I would love it. You will love it. And we will start winning some fantasy leagues together. Now, let's just jump right into it. If you have questions, by the way, now or after the fact, let me take that off the screen. Definitely ask away, and I'll help you out. If you're putting in the comments after the fact, I'll definitely jump into the comments and answer them, and probably other people from Flurry as well. Now, let's get this up. Probably should have had this up. Let's just start by looking at the most trending players right now. Let's put it like this is better. Let's do this. Throw myself over here. Bada bing. Bada boom. Okay. Most trending players in fantasy football over the past 24 hours, I do believe, is what this looks at. The most picked up player, it makes a lot of sense. Kenneth Gainwell picked up in over 600,000 leagues. We knew Jaylen Warren, I mean, it was a late scratch, but we kind of had hints of it, that Jaylen Warren would miss the game this past week, the international game. So if you were up, a lot of people picked up Kenneth Gainwell. A lot of people are going to be trying to pick up Kenneth Gainwell now. And, I mean, he filled in very nicely. He played extremely well. Without Jaylen Warren, important to note that Caleb Johnson still did not really see the field at all. And when he did not look good. So any inkling you may have had about Caleb Johnson, there's been some fantasy experts, people like that coming out this past week talking about the Caleb Johnson usage is coming. People are stupid. Like, it's pretty unbelievable, but no, it's not. Kenneth Gainwell, though, I think played well enough to, keep getting carries. So if you were a Jaylen Warren owner, if you were someone who was somewhat relying on him, I think that's an issue because I think Kenneth Gainwell will see the field. But as soon as Jaylen Warren comes back, Jaylen Warren's too good for Kenneth Gainwell to be doing anything like this regularly. So I think it could become a backfield where Warren on a good week is a flex, and when he's not a flex, you're not going to use him. Kenneth Gainwell probably not going to use him. So I'm not flocking to go pick him up, I should say. Romeo Doubs, number 2. He's very clearly the wide receiver 1. I mean, I'm a Packer fan, right? So I've talked about Romeo Doubs since the day he was drafted. Everything I said about him is true. It continues to be true. He has his flaws. He has his perks. Everything about that. He's the most skilled receiver on the Packers, right? But it's still going to be inconsistent, even though for what we have seen and what he did last night, like, you can pick him up and maybe put him as a wide receiver 3, but it's not going to be consistent. There's going to be other people popping up as well. They have a bye week this week, so I'm not sure if I really want to pick up Romeo Doubs and hold him anyways. But Golden's role will grow. Christian Watson will be coming back in a few weeks. Unfortunately, he's not a very good player, but he will see the field. Jaden Reed will be back mid to late November. That'll take some snaps away. And Romeo Doubs is extremely prone to concussions, even with that bobblehead over his helmet. So, I mean, I don't really think you need to go pick up Romeo Doubs. If you need him, whatever. But you're not playing him this next week, so who cares? Number 3, Darius Slayton. Malik Neighbors obviously out for season. That stinks. Darius Slayton continues to produce there. He's just a steady player. He's unexciting, but he's going to see snaps. He's going to see targets, and I think that makes him an interesting add. The Giants next week play the Saints, so I'm on board. I am fully cool with picking up Darius Slayton. Number 4, Cardinals picked up in almost 200,000 leagues. They play the Titans next week, Colts the week after, Packers after that, and then a bye. So I definitely do not hate that whatsoever. That is definitely going to be a nice streaming option. Justice Hill, If you become a member, you get access to the snap counts and analysis as well. So just looking at Justice Hill, the Ravens trailed in this game. It's not a secret how they use their running backs when they are trailing and it's an obvious pass situation. You can see Justice Hill played 32 of the 54 total snaps to Derrick Henry's 21. It's the same thing as if it's a 2-minute drill, right? Justice Hill is in the game. That's just how they use them. So I don't know if you need to go pick up Justice Hill, but he's an okay fill-in in weeks that you know that it's going to be competitive. They could be trailing. And this past week was obviously one of those games, right? Matthew Stafford is a pickup. I mean, he's good. He's healthy. He's fine. Who did they play? The Rams play the Niners, then the Ravens, then the Jags, then a bye, then the Saints. So, yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate going to pick him up. Obviously, bye weeks start this week. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a bye week tracker this week. But, yeah, Packers are for sure on bye. Potentially the Bears. There's a few teams on bye. Maybe 2. So it's not huge this week, but coming up, there's a couple bad weeks. I think week 8 is terrible. But yeah, bye week fill in Matthew Stafford. Don't hate it. Luke McCaffrey, number 7. He caught a touchdown. He's had some flashes early this season. 2 touchdowns in a row, looks like. Obviously, Terry McLaurin was out. Noah Brown was out. So more snaps to go around there in Washington. Do you need to go pick him up? Probably not. Probably not. Jalen Tolbert's number 8. CeeDee Lamb out. Jalen Tolbert had that huge gain down the sideline. Despite that, still only finished 4 for 61. We've seen Jalen Tolbert get a bunch of snaps in the past and just not do much with them. I mean, look, he was like an every down snap player here. He had some nice weeks, 787, 682, but then he had those 324, 319, stuff like that. So again, Jalen Tolbert, he is a fine streamer, fill in, whatever. Do you need a rush to pick him up? Do you need to drop a bunch of fab on him? Or really any of the players we've mentioned? I don't think so. Maybe Darius Slayton, but even still, I'm not sure. Now, Woody Marks, number 9 most picked up player. This is the pickup this week. I understand they have the Ravens, which is actually a nice matchup given their defensive line health right now. And then they have a bye. Despite that, he played the majority of the snaps. Nick Chubb is still there. They're not going to fully go away from Nick Chubb, but Woody Marks very clearly looked better. He very clearly can do more at this stage of his career with the ball in his hands than Nick Chubb. And he's catching passes. They're using him as a receiver as well. This is the week that we will start to learn a little bit more about Joe Mixon. They've talked about him in past tense and stuff like that. And that's the only thing we've heard. It's been dead silent except for talking about him as if he has died. So all indications are that Joe Mixon's not coming back. It looks like D'Amico talked today about Woody Marks getting an increased workload. That suggests Joe Mixon's not coming back. So I assume Mixon is not coming back, but this week, next week, we will for sure hear something because people will start to talk about it. But yeah, Woody Marks is the running back to own in Houston. He's rostered in 37% of sleeper leagues. That means he's rostered in less than that over on Yahoo and ESPN. This is the pickup. This is the guy you blow the priority waiver claim for. This is the guy this week. It's Woody Marks. Go get Woody Marks. Much like I've talked about with players in the past, like go drop your kicker and pick up Woody Marks unless you have a true difference maker, which there might be 2 at the kicking position. Even if you don't need a running back, go get Woody Marks. Doesn't matter. Someone needs a running back. Somebody really wants him or just needs something with bye weeks, with injuries, with all of that. So you can pick him up and you can trade him. No matter what, you will have a use for Woody Marks. So go do that. And then lastly, for the top 10 here, and then we can get to the chat, Brenton Strange. Again, he is an every down tight end for the Jags, which is useful. You just need a tight end who's going to be on the field, and you need a tight end who's going to get targets. Looking at him, he's getting a bunch of snaps, and then he's got 4, 5, 7, and 7 for targets, 4, 3, 6, 6 from receptions. No touchdown yet, but his yardage is okay. So absolutely. If you need a bye week fill-in, if you need a streamer, go pick up Brenton Strange. Still only owned in a third of sleeper leagues, which again means he's owned in fewer than that on ESPN and Yahoo. He's a solid player. They blew a second-round pick on this dude. Remember, I don't think I'm incorrect with that. So definitely go and pick him up if you need tight end help. If you were relying on Mark Andrews or something like that for some reason, if you have Tucker Kraft and nothing else, because obviously he's on bye, definitely go and check him out. Sam, what's up? I need a wide receiver after losing Neighbors. I feel you. Should I trade Chuba for Jamison Williams? I have Trey Benson, Mason, Judkins, Pollard, and Kamara. So you're good at running back. Should you trade J-Mo or Chubb for J-Mo? I feel like you're giving up too much for him, but I don't hate it. If you can do it, like if you're saying you want to trade one of your running backs, the one I would love to trade is Tony Pollard, if you can do that. Tajay Spears is coming back this week or next week, I can only assume. How long will he stay healthy? Who knows? But Pollard's been dominating that backfield. Been a bad offense. Only direction for that offense to go is up. Probably won't go further up, much further up, but still, Pollard's going to be losing a lot of snaps. And if you can sell him at his current value, which is mid, right? Low end running back 2, flex, whatever. If you can package Pollard with another mid receiver for a decent option, I would love to do that. That would be my personal strategy for attacking this for you. And if you can clear a roster spot, I always love doing that as well. If you can get the best player in the trade while also clearing a roster spot, beautiful. So I would try to do that in a vacuum. Would I do the trade you just said? I guess if there's nothing out there. I don't know. I don't know about Jameson Williams. I would want someone a little bit more steady, I think. Nino, is this me panicking or worth debating? Lost Neighbors in only left with Jacoby, Alik, and Diggs. I've been trying to shop McBride. Don't hate that. Was offered a huge deal of sending McBride and McCaffrey for Hampton, Tyreek, Tet, and Kittle. That's a huge trade. Obviously, that means you have to drop at least 2 people, I assume, which I don't love. So we got to factor that into the trade. It's not just McBride and McCaffrey. But I love getting Hampton. Getting Kittle back for McBride is good. Hopefully he's back in a couple of weeks, right? I like Tet. Like, he's a solid player. The only thing holding him back is his quarterback, obviously, but that's a big hurdle for a wide receiver. And then Tyreek, man. I mean, Tyreek's value could spike one direction or the other tonight. I don't hate that trade, though. I really don't. McBride is good. McCaffrey's been outstanding. But you did lose a receiver. I almost wish you could. Let me know who you would have to drop. Because if you have to drop one of those receivers or something like that, then that stinks. Then I'm not sure if I would do that trade. So let me know that. Craig, how do you feel about Rattler against the Giants trying to fill in for Love on a bye? 2-quarterback league, only quarterback available. Worth a shot, or do I need to figure out a trade for a quarterback? I mean, the first thing is watch what the Ravens do, because Cooper Rush could be playing. And I would prefer Cooper Rush against, who do they play? Let's take a look. They play Houston. So not an easy matchup, but I think I still prefer him to Rattler, if you can do that. And obviously that depends on if Lamar's out or not. They can't really afford to lose very many more games, even though that second half of their schedule is fucking patty cake. Go bet the Ravens to make the playoffs if you can. But honestly, Rattler, I don't think he's a good quarterback whatsoever. But he, in that Saints offense, is okay. It's okay. So if they can run the ball somewhat halfway decent against the Giants, I think they will be okay. So It depends on what the rest of your team is, I suppose. But I think you can get by. I think he isn't going to be. He's not going to win you the week, obviously. But in terms of like, if there's 2 teams off, if I'm thinking correctly, so 30 quarterbacks to rank, he's probably between that 25 and 28 mark, would be my guess, which isn't the worst, right? So I think you're okay. I don't think you need to go and make your team actively worse for future weeks with a trade. So I would sit on Rattler and hope another quarterback option becomes available with Cooper Rush. Maybe something with Cleveland happens. Otherwise, I assume Mariota is already owned. I assume Dart is owned. Not sure what else there is, but yeah, I assume Wentz is owned. I would check for Cooper Rush, but yeah, you don't need to make a trade. I'd drop Andrews and probably backup quarterback Fields or Dak. Sucks giving up the 2, but depth is killed. About to be 1-3. I feel you. I have some good teams that are 1-3. I did just lose James, Connor, and Neighbors back-to-back weeks in one of them, so I do certainly feel your pain there. Potentially even Pacheco dropped. So when you say backup quarterback Fields or Dak, I assume you have those are your only 2 quarterbacks. You don't have, like 2 backups, right? If you're rostering 3 quarterbacks, make a change there. But if you're rostering 2 quarterbacks, depending on the size of the league, certainly could drop one of them. But I'm not upset by dropping Pacheco. I don't think you need to lose any bit of sleep. However, if you could trade one of them, if Fields and Dak are your only 2 quarterbacks and you can get Fields to give you a decent performance tonight, which is certainly possible. I love it when you can get someone to have a huge game on primetime because everybody's watching it. So Fields can have a good game against Miami, and you can package Fields and Pacheco for any tiny upgrade at one of the 2 positions, I guess. I would love to do that instead of having to drop a ton of people. But I love getting Hampton. Going back to your trade, love getting Hampton. Tyreek, I think, is a good get right now, depending on what happens tonight. Love McMillan, and Kittle should be back soon, which is a nice little fill-in for McBride. So I'm good with that. I would do that trade. I would really try to make a trade to clear up some of that roster space if possible quickly. But yeah, you're good to go. Craig, Dillon, and Rush could be worth a waiver bid. Yeah, for sure. It's only a matter of time before Cleveland does something. I assume Dylan Gabriel's the next choice. And then I assume we see Shedeur at some point this season as well. Browns need to, with the quarterback draft that's coming up, it only makes sense for them to keep trying out different quarterbacks because maybe one clicks and that's good. And 2, it kind of ruins the continuity on that offense, and then they can keep losing games, which is great for them because then they're in a position to 1, know what they have in their quarterbacks, and 2, have a good draft spot to draft one of these really good quarterbacks. So I assume we see Dylan Gabriel sooner rather than later, and then I assume we see Shedeur later. Unload the full fab on Woody 46. It depends on the size of your league and how bad you're hurting for running back, but I do like going to get him. He's not going to be 75% of the snaps, right? Unless Chubb gets hurt, which is very possible. I assume Joe Mixon's in a ditch somewhere. We'll find out this week, most likely, whatever update that is. And Chubb is what he is at this point in his career, so Woody's role will continue to grow. I just don't see him in his rookie year with Nick Chubb there being any more than like a 66% of the snaps guy. But he's really good. Would I blow my full fab on him? If you think you have to and you need, first off, if you're picking him up to start him, that's different than picking him up to stash him. If you're picking him up to be your running back 4, then absolutely not. No point. If you're picking him up to be your running back 2 right away, then that gives me more reason to, it means you're more desperate, but that gives me a reason to say yes to that. But I think he's decent. Rest of season, I'm going to try to do my rest of season rankings this week because those I use to tie into my trade value chart, which I do want to get out. So just thinking of what he marks, he's probably in the running back. This is just a ballpark. I actually need to actually rank them. I would say he's in the low running back 30s at the moment. Low as in like 38, 39. We'll see. Just traded away Keenan, Ibuka, Scatabo for Amon-Ra and Rashad White. Receivers are Harrison, J-Mo. Running backs are Henry, H. Hampton. Did I do okay? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love Keenan Allen, but I do think for sure at some point, Ladd McConkey's going to be used. So, and Keenan Allen could get hurt. So I like that. Ibuka, I think, is here. Like, the best part is that he's a handcuff for both Godwin and Evans. Obviously, Evans out, so he still has that inflated value. When all healthy, Ibuka does take a little step down, so that's good. And Scatabo, I think, is great. I think he's a dog. I think he's good. I think even when everyone's healthy, he's the running back 1A. But when Tracy comes back, Tracy will be used as well. So I do like trading him high if you can. But yeah, now you got Amon-Ra with Marvin Harrison Jr. You still have Henry, Hampton, A-Chain, so you're stacked there. Yeah, I love it. And you cleared up a roster spot, which again, can't understate it enough. I love that. I love clearing a roster spot. No problem, Nino. Need to drop Neighbors anyway. Oh yeah, true. Very true. But yeah, if you can make that trade, that helps you even more. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that clears up a roster spot with Neighbors. I guess that's the one good thing with that. Okay. Quickly, I suppose, let's just look at the trending down players. Obviously, Neighbors officially out for the rest of the season with that torn ACL. I'm not sure if there's been any. They didn't even talk about his injury here. Oh, there it is. Shoulder injury. So Steelers are the other week 5 bye team. He was in a sling. He was ambulanced off. Kelvin Austin with that shoulder injury. So that's something to watch. When he was out, I mean, Roman Wilson couldn't even see the field. So I'm not sure if there's a wide receiver 2 option to own in Pittsburgh. I would assume they call the Titans. This feels like a landing spot for either Tyler Lockett or Calvin Ridley, in my opinion. So maybe if you want to get real fucking ballsy, try to get one of those 2 receivers and potentially they can play opposite DK Metcalf. But yeah, Darnell Mooney is hurt once again. I believe he exited with a hamstring injury. Yeah, that sucks. Joey Sly, who cares? Trey Tucker got dropped because he didn't have a 3-touchdown week. He's the wide receiver 2 there, but is what it is. Tyquan Thornton dropped. He actually had a decent game. But Xavier Worthy's back, obviously. Dylan Sampson's not used whatsoever. I would assume the Browns tried to trade Jerome Ford if at all possible, because Judkins Sampson backfield would be really nice. Ramondre Stevenson was dropped a bunch. He's still the running back 1 there. Tootin was dropped a bunch. He's going to just be inconsistent. He's touchdown dependent. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I've talked about him to exhaustion. I don't think he's that great of a player. And he's very clearly not built to be a bell cow. And he's very clearly not trusted in pass protection. So he is extremely limited. Extremely limited. If you can trade him for low-end RB2 value, there's people who are still on the bandwagon. Go ahead and do that. Otherwise, yeah, not much to say. Luther Burden is the clear wide receiver 4, which means he's the clear 6 option on this offense. They love Olamide Zaccheaus, So Burden's not going to get consistent snaps unless there's an injury or if the Bears are completely ruled out for the rest of the season, like ruled out of the playoffs. He's a great player. I think he's a future piece for sure, but he's not going to play over a limited Zacchaeus. He's just not. They like him too much. You are welcome, Matt. Okay. Again, if anyone wants to get access to the full snap counts here, we got an abbreviated version on Flurry Sports. But we got the snap counts from week 4. We got analysis for each of the situations there. As you can see, like Woody Marks played 40 of the 71 snaps. Chubb ended up only playing 30. Really useful information. If you want to become a member, 1 coffee per month gets you that. Buymeacoffee.com/Zach Brunner. Link in the description. Can go to Flurry Sports to the article. If you want to follow me on Twitter at Fantasy Flurry, you can see that there as well. Get access to a group chat, get access to other stats like my opportunity index, like the trade value chart once that is out. Lots of good stuff. And keep asking questions, but let's do what we did last week. I feel like that worked well. Let's do my waiver wire rankings. Again, I've already talked through it a little bit, but let's prioritize these waiver wire rankings and see who the top pickups for this week are. Obviously, I'm just starting from scratch here from what Fantasy Pros gives me. So, okay, quarterback. If you have Jordan Love, if you're relying on Aaron Rodgers in a 2-quarterback league, something like that, if you have an injury, whatever the case, these are the quarterbacks available. I like going Jackson Dart. He's got that rushing floor, which is going to be decent. He plays the Saints, which I'm not afraid of. So Jackson Dart there is decent. I don't mind Geno against the Colts. I do think they're going to run the ball okay against the Colts as well. Tua, I hate him as a person. I hate him as a player. He does play the Panthers. We'll see how he looks tonight. If he can have a nice performance tonight, that could give him something to build off of. Darnold plays the Bucks, which I don't love. But Justin Jefferson and Addison playing next to each other, I do love. Or sorry, he's not on the Vikings anymore. Jackson Smith and Jigba and Torrey Horton playing next to each other, I like. And Cooper Kupp is also there somewhere. Carson Wentz I like, but he plays the Browns. So no thank you. Jake Browning against the Lions, I don't hate. Browning, better days ahead for Browning. He plays the Broncos tonight, which stinks. If he has another terrible game and is dropped, I don't mind picking up Jake Browning for his future schedule. Which is, he has the Lions, the Packers, the Steelers, Jets, and Bears. 4 of those 5 games are at home. So brighter days ahead for Jake Browning. But yeah, it's going to be Jackson Dart, Geno, probably Tua for me. Probably Bryce Young over Sam Darnold. That could be controversial. I just really don't believe in Miami. So I think this is what I would do. Running back. Woody Marks is the number 1 priority pickup of the week. Interesting. So this ownership from Fantasy Pros is based on consensus from Yahoo and ESPN. So that's good to know. Because, yeah, Rashad White at 44. I suppose Rashad White's my number 2. Because he's involved, and then he's a great handcuff, obviously. Braylon Allen, Kareem Hunt, Tajay should potentially be back. Is there any potential new news on that? Expected to practice this week, which means he's probably another week out. Gets to come back for Arizona, Raiders, Patriots, Colts. Love that. That is enough to put him above Kareem. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not that I want Kareem Hunt, but that's the situation there. Kenneth Gainwell isn't a big pickup. He's above Ollie Gordon, but he's not a big pickup because Jalen Warren will be back. Blake Corum is continuing to earn more snaps. He's not going to play ahead of Kyren Williams, but if Kyren Williams goes down, he's going to be an outstanding handcuff. Outstanding. Xavier Scott is playing the receiving role that Aaron Jones left behind, which I think is potentially more valuable than the Justice Hill role. Brashard Smith mixed in a little bit this week, but I don't think it's consistent enough to rely on yet. Kendre Miller is a handcuff and kind of the hammer there in the Saints backfield. Kyle Monangai is really just not impressing me. I'll do that for him. Chris Rodriguez is in that trio backfield in Washington, which isn't exciting to me. So I'll do that. I'm debating moving Blake Corum up higher. But yeah, the Titans offense is too bad. The potential for Blake Corum to be good is better than whatever Spears is going to give us. So I think this is my rankings here. Braylon Allen is going to be used, and he is a good handcuff. Rashad White, same thing. And Woody Marks could potentially become the guy. Might already be the guy. So that is that. Wide receivers. Wan'Dale's above Marquise Brown. Okay. I don't think we need to go pick up Marquise Brown. Why? Is it just ordered by ownership? Brandon Ayuk, I don't think is particularly close to returning. Let's go Ayo Manor, number 2. Luther Burden can go down there. Darius Slayton can go up here. Obviously, Slayton is going to be playing right alongside Wan'Dale Robinson now that Malik Neighbors is out. Troy Franklin's the clear wide receiver 2 there in Denver. I don't know how far that takes you, but it's enough to take him ahead of Marquise Brown. Based on potential, Romeo Doubs will play at number 5. Jalen Coker's probably back this week. He'll play a lot next to Ted McMillan. Wicks can go down here. Mims can go there. Isaiah Bond clearly leaped ahead of Thrash. And then said Tillman got knocked out this week, got injured. So Bond rose to wide receiver 2 next to Jerry Jeudy. If he is still there, I mean, an interesting play in week 5. He plays the Vikings, which stinks. And then he's got the Steelers. So, upside, I don't know if it's there. If AD Mitchell continues to play big snaps for them because of injuries, I like him. He's extremely talented. He's just sort of a bonehead. But that's enough to put him there. Jalen Tolbert. Man. I do think I like Tolbert more than Marquise Brown, and I do think Brandon Ayuk's a ways away yet. So I think this is the rankings here. Wan'Dale Robinson, Alik Ayomanor, Darius Slayton, Troy Franklin, Romeo Doubs, Jalen Coker. And that might be my line. Like, I don't think Marquise Brown necessarily needs to be owned. I don't think Brandon Ayuk needs to be owned right now unless you have an IR slot. And then, I think that's it. I think that's it. Tight ends. Let's take a look here again. Tucker Kraft out this week. Steelers guys out. Brenton Strange is the top option here without a doubt. This might be ordered pretty close. So Strange, yes, 1. Dalton Schultz for sure 2. Mason Taylor, I like his upside. We'll see a little bit more from him tonight. Theo Johnson, how many targets did he get without Neighbors and with Dart? I assume the inexperienced quarterback will target him a little bit more. So I like him there. And then Brunner is obviously ahead of Arroyo because he's playing. He's the blocker. He's going to be on the field. And then he's athletic enough to make plays like he did this past week. Nice little touchdown. So they love AJ Brunner. They love him. I said this last year when he was a rookie. I'm saying it now. Arroyo is not going to just suddenly be ahead of him. Arroyo is a guy who's just going to mix into the receiving core once he's a little bit more competent. AJ Brunner is here. AJ Brunner is going to be there. Is he a huge fantasy stud? Absolutely not. But if you need a bye week fill-in, we know he's going to be on the field at the very least. Defenses, let's take a look at who potentially could be streamed this week. Don't love this. Okay, so we're putting Cardinals number 1, obviously. Patriots are the best defense up here. Patriots and Browns, but don't love their matchups, obviously. Dolphins could potentially be number 2. How many sacks did the Colts get? They got 3, so 3-0-4-3. That's pretty good. We'll go Cardinals, Colts, Dolphins. Actually, you know what? I don't hate the Browns. I think they can actually pick apart that Vikings offensive line. Is that enough? I mean, but it's the Vikings. Yes, I'm fine with that. Giants. Yeah, let's do this. Cardinals, Colts, Browns, Dolphins, Giants, Patriots. Hopefully you don't have to play past. I mean, hopefully you don't have to rely on the Dolphins. You know what I mean? And then kickers, I suppose we'll do kickers quickly, but whatever. Not much to talk about here. We want a kicker whose offense is going to move the ball, and then hopefully the offense peters out in the red zone. That is Chad Ryland might be a decent option this week, actually. We'll keep Little. We'll go Schrader above Little. Schrader, Little. How many field goal attempts did Matt Gay get this week? 4. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so that is it. If we're going overall, we're not going to rank them all. We're not going to do that. Woody Marks is very clearly the top overall waiver claim this week. If Wan'Dale Robinson is out there, he's number 2 for you. A.O. Menor is 3. And then I think I would go Darius Slayton at 4. Well, I mean, if Rashad White's there, I guess. If Rashad White's there, I'll keep him at 5. We'll go 5. Braylon Allen, 6. We'll go Cardinals 7. We'll do top 10 here. Maybe we'll go Jackson Dart 8. Troy Franklin 9. And Brenton Strange. Strange is up there. He's ahead of a kicker for sure. Most are. We'll put Romeo Doubs at 10 because I think you can trade Romeo Doubs if nothing else. So this is it. Those are the rankings. Overall, sure. Okay. My overall, what? The consensus has Rashad White as the 12th best running back pickup. I mean, this is why just people in the industry are stupid, right? Why would that be the case? Whatever. Okay. Well, is what it is. Okay. Did I sell by trading Henry and Higgins for Chase? Have Genty, Benson, Judkins, Worthy, and T-Mac. So you're fine probably at running back. Certainly need help at receiver. I'm fine with that. I do think better days ahead for everybody on this list, to be honest. Did you give up more than what you get in return? Probably. But getting a difference maker in Jamar Chase is big. Even with Browning throwing him the ball, I think tonight could be tough. But better days ahead for that entire Cincinnati Bengals offense. They're all buy lows, even Chase Brown, who I don't think is very good at football. Better days ahead for Derrick Henry as well. But I'm fine with this. I don't think you're bad. 8-man league. Would you drop Ladd? Man, what a question. Would you drop Ladd for Addison or Godwin? I don't think so. Hopefully you have better receivers to start than Ladd McConkey right now, especially in an 8-man. Hopefully you have a better option already and you can keep Ladd on your bench. But yeah, I don't think I would cut him. He's too good, and that offense will come around to using him. They just will. He's too good, especially listening to the way Keenan Allen talks about him. Things will turn around. He is one of the best buy low options right now. Dunze's on buy, and CD got hurt. Okay, that is definitely a situation then. Who do the Chargers play this week? Let's take a look at that. So Chargers play, not that a matchup's going to be better than what they just had. I'm not afraid of Washington whatsoever, and then they have the Dolphins, then the Colts, and the Vikings. So, man, my answer is no. My answer is no. I don't really trust Addison this week. Man, my answer is no. I do like Godwin. He's very clearly healthy enough. He played nearly every single snap. But I'm sticking with McConkey. I have to. The thing is with the Chargers, they haven't been using McConkey and they've been winning. So there's just less pressure to change things. Maybe they get a little bit too comfortable. Now they lose. They lose in an embarrassing fashion to the Giants. All of a sudden, maybe they're like, okay, let's reevaluate. Let's self-scout. Let's figure out how to make our offense better. Let's figure out how to just be better. And then maybe they're just like, okay, part of that is obviously getting Ladd McConkey the ball. So it's tough, but I think I would still play him over Godwin and Addison this week. Because Addison's got the Browns, which I don't love. Buccaneers have somebody I don't love either, I don't think. They have the Seahawks, which not great, obviously. Yeah, I would go with Ladd McConkey one more time. If he lets us down again, I'm thinking about doing like a panic meter tier list thing in a future video on this website. Why did I say that? Because I was reading this, not to give that any promotion, but on the YouTube channel, I think I am going to do like a panic meter thing. People have been sending me some people, as requested on Twitter. And Ladd McConkey, I'm not panicking fully yet, but if he has another bad week, he is going to be off the charts. I'll be fine with just saying do whatever you need to do with Ladd McConkey if that's the case. This has to be the week. After a loss, after a game where they couldn't put up enough points against the Giants, they have to get Ladd McConkey the ball. And that's just my guess. That's my guess, and that's what I'm going to hang to. I'm going to rank him modestly. I'm not going to say he's like a top 10 guy this week, but I'm ranking him as if I'm playing him because he has to be used. He has to. Get any final questions in here before we get out of here? For any other, if you're watching this after the fact, definitely leave some comments as well. I'm going to chop up some of this to post as videos too. Otherwise, go to flurrysports.org. We're going to have a lot of good fantasy stuff. We're going to up our fantasy content on this website as well. flurrysports.org. You can get my rankings here. I have IDP rankings and every, just normal position rankings. I tried out this type of article this week and might start doing a little bit more. And have other of my writers doing this because I think it's a nice, easy article, but it's a nice one to kind of summarize a lot of things. Obviously tells you about the game and stuff, but trends against the team they're playing, like how many points per game the Chargers give up to running backs, stuff like that. recent games from that player. So a lot of good stuff, little insights. I'm going to try to get a bunch of these out this week. So definitely go to flurrysports.org. We got the start sit stuff. We have streamers. We got a waiver wire article coming out tomorrow. Lots of good stuff. You'll see my name on a bunch of these, but hopefully the hope is you see other people's names coming soon. And we also have some expert articles by the Yeti, which is just like a staff little collaboration here. And that's because we got people from around the fantasy industry answering questions. Like from Fantasy Life, we got Dwayne McFarland talking about a buy low candidate. You have me, you have other people from Flurry, Jeff Lambert, Justin Herrera, other people. So if you have your favorite fantasy analyst and it's not someone on the list that you've already seen, maybe tell them, hey, send them this link. Hey, fill out this form. Would love to see you jump in and give your insights along other fantasy analysts as well. That would be a pretty cool thing. But yeah, otherwise, if there aren't any other questions, I may go and make sure my snowblower works. If you missed the start of the stream, make sure my shoulder is not broken. Again, if you missed the start of the stream, and we will do some articles today. We will have some videos coming. And if you have any suggestions for things you want to see, whether it be especially videos, but articles as well. But if you have any suggestions of things you want to see, fantasy football topics, maybe even sports betting topics, whatever it may be, please let me know. We're always looking for more ideas and we want to deliver to you what you want to see. So please let me know tonight. I don't know if I have a time yet. Usually we're going around 5 p.m. Central, especially with the 2 Monday Night Football games. Let's see. I have not been told a time yet, but the Flurry Sports Podcast is tonight. It's not a fantasy football show. It's just a sports podcast. We are live right here. 4:45. Don't know if he's listening or not, but 4:45 we will be live right here Central Time. And we just talk about sports in our own unique way. We are listing the top headlines for the week. Again, we are like a sports show that talks about NFL in the same way people talk about WWE, professional wrestling. We talk about storylines. We talk about stuff like that. I think Jake is giving his baseball bets tonight. I want to figure out the best ways to end NFL games that aren't in ties. We need to figure out a better way than just say, hey, nobody's a winner. So come with ideas for that as well. We need all of the ideas possible. And as always, we spin a wheel and we rank the top 10 teams according to whatever the wheel lands on. We rank the top teams to share a beer with. And then last week, a little less boring, but a little bit more useful maybe, or a little bit more boring and more useful, we ranked the top teams most likely to win a Super Bowl. But tonight could be off the rails. So come and hang out, please. And we'll leave with Miggy's question here. I traded Dobbs for Pacheco and J-Mo. I most likely won't ever start Dobbs, and I got a good receiver, and I feel like I got depth. Yeah, you killed it. I don't love Pacheco, but I love getting J-Mo instead of Dobbs. Yeah, I like the trade. Good trade. Pacheco, again, I don't like, but if Kareem Hunt gets hurt, then all of a sudden, cool. Like Pacheco is going to be at least better. He'll at least be a reliable flex at that point. But yeah, if you need a running back depth anyways, cool. All for that trade, 100%. That's coming from a Packer fan who's watched every single snap of Romeo Dobbs in both college and NFL. My breakdown on him the day he was drafted is exactly the same breakdown I would give to him today. He's a good player. He is certainly injury prone. He certainly can't create separation super well. Decent hands. This Packers offense just isn't going to be something that makes him reliable week in and week out. So I like getting two players with much higher upside than Dobbs. So I like that trade. If you guys got any other questions, go to @FantasyFlurry on Twitter. You can talk to me there. You can comment it in the comments here on YouTube. And I'll see you soon. Tonight, 4:45 p.m. Central.